Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
So it's 7 o'clock and I will call the meeting of the Village of Saxtons River Trustees to order. This is a meeting by remote electronic communication only, thanks to the legislature's provisions during this time of coronavirus. We are online at Zoom. If anyone has technical difficulties, you can call or text 802-376-4639. Let's begin with the call. We've called it to order. Are there any public comments? I see we have a couple of people on. So the floor is open for any public comments. Okay. First serious item on the agenda is the budget worksheets, and I will turn this discussion over to Carl Ball.
Okay, so we have two budget worksheets to look at, one for the wastewater treatment plant, one for the village general budget. The general budget is voted on at the annual meeting. It's will be one of the motions. The wastewater treatment plant budget is not voted at the meeting. Which one would you like to look at first? Any preference?
Nope.
General, we've got Rob here. Let's do the wastewater treatment plant.
The wastewater plant first.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We don't want to make you stay too long, Rob.
Okay. Give me a moment here while I get all the garbage off my screen. Okay, so what I'm going to, you should all have received a Word document, a PDF file that had the figures from the budget on. I'm going to actually work from an Excel file that's got all the same numbers, just because if we decide to change anything, I can make the changes and we won't lose them.
Can you make it any larger, Carl? I'm having a little trouble seeing it.
Let's see.
Anybody know the trick to make things larger on a PC screen?
Like the little thing down there. There you go.
That looks much better. Thank you.
I just enlarged my Excel.
Yep, I
Can everybody
appreciate it.
see it?
So I'm not seeing what the numbers are lined up against. I see all the numbers, but
Okay,
There we go.
there we go.
that's better.
Perfect.
All right, let's
You
roll.
want to know what the numbers are for? This is that just destroys all my creative budgeting. Okay, so the budget for the wastewater treatment plant was actually pretty easy because Rob did most of it, and there's not an awful lot of changes. I've highlighted a couple of things in red. So
Yeah.
I'm suggesting, Rob didn't think that this was necessary, but looking at the actual expenses that we might want to increase the budget for the administration, which is the portion of the clerk and tax collector's salary, half of that, and expenses of mailing out bills and such like. And it's been 1,800-ish for the last couple of years. I think it might be wise to bring it up to that.
Okay.
Well, and as you mentioned that, I don't think I've allotted any money for postage this year to the wastewater treatment plant. I think it's all in the village.
You mean it's all been charged against the village, or?
Yeah, I can change that fairly easily.
So you're
Well,
saying
There won't
that,
have been, there won't have been a lot yet, will there? I mean, the bills,
Well, there was the bills from last summer.
yeah,
so
but
are we talking about the sewer bills?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, that wasn't clear to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you've been charging those against the village? I
Yes,
got that.
just the, like all the paper and postage and stuff. So it's not a lot of money.
Okay,
But I realize I need to charge half of it to the wastewater treatment plant.
okay. Yeah, and half of the stipends for the
Yeah.
and tax collector too go
Mhm.
there. Bells Falls management item. This is essentially Rob's salary. And this is based on the number that that Amy got from Scott Pickup.
So that's a 3% increase over
That's
last
a
year.
3% increase over the amount for last year.
Does that look right to you, Rob?
Yep. Yeah, it's in the contract. This will be the third year of the contract, so.
Great.
we'll have
Yeah,
to-
I don't want to change anything here, but wouldn't it be better if Rob went through these numbers with us? Because he's the one that put them together and,
Sure, if you want.
It was Carol and myself, but that's fine.
okay, well, I mean, you're down there running the plant.
But
So,
yeah.
so that's
I
that.
guess,
So capital reserve,
yeah, I mean, I just leave the capital reserve at that amount. I mean, we had taken some out to do the manholes, and that
Right.
actually came in under the 17.5. So I think just putting back the 17.5 each year is going to be status quo.
okay,
Chemicals, I think that'll be fine. I don't know where I've got on my paper that I got today. There's a red for $12,660. I don't know where that came from, Carl.
There is an invoice, something there from Hydrus Controls. Remember I asked you about that?
Oh,
that
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
was
looked at
charged
it
for
and
that.
I think that may be able to be put under what is it, wastewater treatment plant, the,
Maintenance, plant maintenance.
yes, yeah.
I just don't know what that, and that
But
was
it
for how much.
also may be able to be paid for by the other account, the what's it called, Carl? We talked about it yesterday.
Oh, the upgrade, the planned upgrade.
Yes,
So that may be one of the items that we got approved to use the remaining grant funds from. I need to know what the item was.
right. I will go back and look at it and get it to, I'll send it to Rob and that way he can tell us. Because I'm pretty sure I won't know what it is.
so what's the number?
So it's $7,004
Okay,
extra that's in that account. So the account would be sort of 5,000-ish. Right,
Okay.
at the actual as of right now. So
Mhm.
definitely going up.
so
We are still anticipating more payments coming from the upgrade, correct? So for example, there's completing the insulation project. I don't think we've been.
we're just going over budget stuff here, so, you're kind of sidetracking there a little bit, I think.
Well, I
Yeah.
thought we were discussing whether Hydrus would be assigned to chemicals or to a different, completely
Well,
different account.
I'm just trying to account for the difference, the big difference between the actual and the budgeted. But
Okay,
It's not anything that we need to consider for next year's budget, so Matt's right. It's a side issue for this.
Okay. So Rob, 3,000 for chemicals is going to do it?
Yeah, 3,000 chemicals should be fine.
Okay,
Electricity, we should be good with 16,000.
Mhm.
okay,
All right. Propane, I mean, 12,050 should be good.
Now you had.
I mean, that's
1,250.
Yeah,
No,
$1,250.
You
Yeah,
may be
I,
right, Matt.
I increased that a little bit. I know, Rob, you said that 1,000 would still be okay, but I thought it might be prudent to have a little bit extra in anything that has to do with energy.
Mhm.
And that's fine. I mean, it's gonna be a roll of the dice of what that's gonna play out at.
Yeah,
Insurance, I mean, I think somebody else is gonna better handle that, what's gonna come in from the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Town, but that seems been pretty under that every year
yeah.
Okay.
for the last couple, so. Lab testing and fees, I don't anticipate anything. That actually could go down some more if we wanted to, but we don't have any. I mean, it's right now, we're just under $800, so we just have normal stuff coming in that we'd be billing out. So if we
800 for the year?
So it looked like that so far for the actual for the year, if that column
Yeah,
of-
unless I'm missing something huge.
right, but we've been billing it out, so as long as our office has
Yeah.
been sending you a bill, that should be it, but
Yeah,
you know, if we want to go down,
we're
So
covered with
the-
the Village of BF.
yep.
So the 43, 4150 is representative of what?
Well, I think
Good
in the
question.
beginning of our permit, we had to do some aquatic testing of the plant, so we had to send it to an outside lab. And that
Yeah.
was extensive testing, so that was pretty pricey.
Okay.
And that was we had to do one in the summer or spring, and the other one was in the winter. I remember going to get river samples in the winter time, so.
And there's nothing upcoming this next year?
Not that I'm aware of, so, I mean, if we wanted to drop that down to 2,500, I think that would be a savings of a little bit.
Okay,
That's
well,
what you-
we're seeing 800. Do you want to go to 2,000?
And that's
Or you
fine
think
too.
that's too low?
No, I think we could do that,
Okay.
So we do 2,000 then?
yeah.
Okay,
Line maintenance, 35, that should be good. No more paving projects that have to do with the sewer manhole covers.
Mm-hmm.
Sludge removal, I think that'll work for 14.5.
and I highlighted that in red because Rob mentioned that we don't know if there's going to be a transportation surcharge on that or not.
Right, that's
You're
another one.
anticipating, depending on the cost of gas?
Right, it's gonna be there'll be a fuel upcharge potentially
Yep.
for that. So, that's gonna be, one of those things. I don't know what they'll do, but I'm sure there'll be a fuel upcharge.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to go to, we had 15.5 in 2021 budget. We spent 10. But by the time I don't understand, what did we spend? Did we spend that 15,190?
That's projected based on how much we had spent in the 68% of the year that's
Okay.
passed. So that's just
Okay,
a projection.
okay. Yeah, because we're doing basically about one load a month. So we'll have, and I think the loads are about $1,000
Yeah.
to do a load.
Yeah.
So, I don't anticipate any more. If
So
that's
you're good with that number?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's gonna be the roll of the dice, the fuel charge.
Yeah,
How much they're gonna hit us with the fuel charge, so. But if we come in a little over, if it's 15.2 or 15.5, we're within $1,000, so. I'd say if we're at 14.5, I'd say that's fine.
Good.
Telephone, I would say that's would cover it.
And it's under telephone, but that's internet also.
Yeah,
Right.
Yes.
Yep. Communication.
Mhm.
Plant maintenance, we took that up an extra 1,000 from the 6,000 we started with, or was
Mhm.
last year's.
Mhm.
And again, it's one of those things I hope the place doesn't break down, but it seems like anytime it does, it gets expensive real quick. With the UV system or with the DO system, with anything. So, I can't tell you what's going to happen this time next year, but I feel 7,000 is a good start, and hopefully we don't go over that. But if we do, we do. But and then the bond payment,
Yep.
and then the UV lights, which that's a good number too, I think, to have. So I think we're pretty good.
Okay, so that brings the total to 251,000 roughly. The budgeted last year, if you take out the pavement project, the budget for what would come from user fees was about 250,000. So we're within $1,000 of a year ago,
That's good.
which is pretty good.
Mhm.
Which is a little bit less than the 0.89% was what I figured without having reduced the lab fee budget. So, yeah, we're doing pretty well. I will mention for those who haven't been on the board as long that in the past, as we were bringing the new plant online, we took a little bit of money out of the capital reserve to apply towards this budget to soften the blow to the users. And we stopped doing that last year, but it's something we could consider doing again if we feel like we need to lessen pain for the village. But it's, I think, dangerous to take money out of the capital reserve if we don't need to.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember we had quite a debate on whether to raise the sewer fees. And I was approached by somebody in the village who said that really hurt. So at the time, we considered it to be a very small increase, but it is painful for some of our taxpayers. So good thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, well, 1% can be a lot of money if you're talking about a substantial bill. So, yeah.
So are we through with this budget?
I think so. I think we could entertain a motion to accept this budget.
I move that the village trustees accept this budget from the wastewater treatment facility.
I'll second that motion. And add that the budget total is $250,000, $974.06.
250,974.
Thank you. So it's been moved and seconded to accept the budget for the wastewater treatment plant. Are there any questions, either from board members or from the public at this time?
Rob, you all set with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
All right, hearing no questions, I think we're ready for a vote. We'll do that with a show of hands. All in favor of passing the wastewater treatment plant budget, please signify by raising a hand. And we're all unanimous. Thank you. Sorry, it's sometimes hard for me to see. Okay, Carl, thank you. We've got that one squared away.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you very much, Rob.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Okay,
Rob.
you too. Okay, next, the general fund budget. Let me, everybody see it?
Yep.
Can you take us up and over so we can, oh, wow, look at that.
You people all want to see everything.
We do.
Okay, for the moment, well, no, maybe not for the moment. So let me go through one of the intricacies of the budget that always bewildered me when I went to the annual meetings. And that's that we have some cash on hand almost always, that varies from year to year. And that's used generally to reduce the amount from taxes. A year ago, or 2 years ago, I forget which, we decided to take some of that money and instead of reducing the tax bill, put it in a capital reserve for the new fire station. So that would be the, let me scroll down here, Fire Station Development Fund. So we've been putting a little bit of money in there. Now, the amount of cash left on hand varies a lot. It was about $600 last year. Over the last few years, or the highest that I remember since I've been on the board, is about 33,000. So that amount that we've got in sort of money floating around is variable. This year, and Sarah, you can correct me if there's been a change from your calculations, the cash on hand was $44,986.
Well, we spent a chunk last week on the, hold on, I'm gonna get it for you. On the Southwestern Mutual Aid, the bill was about 8,500. So that, which we knew was coming.
But that does not affect the cash on hand. The cash on hand is the amount that was in the accounts as of
Oh, as
June
of,
30th
sorry.
of 2020.
Yes, that is correct.
So that number doesn't change with money that we spend this year.
Right. Sorry.
So what is it actually? I'm sorry to be so dense, but
So it's a 19,000.
so it's money that wasn't spent? It's
That's
taxes that came
Yeah.
in that were not
That's
budgeted?
correct. That-
Yes, but
Or-
there was also Celia and Alex did a, Celia Bohannon and Alex Barrett did a really good job of getting some, and a lot of houses sold, so, and people refinanced. So a lot of money came in that had been owed for a fair amount of time.
So these are things like lien payments that made up past dues?
Yep, yeah. So there's a fair amount, and I don't know exactly what the number is because it would sort of be before my time. But I think that's one reason why it's larger than normal.
But it is, again, kind of hard to, it's kind of hard to say
And it
what's
was
normal because it varies so much.
And it was an easier winter, so less was spent on oil, which is a fairly large.
So what are we doing here?
Okay, so I'm just saying that we have this $44,986.
Cash on hand.
Cash on hand, which we need to
Yeah.
figure out what to do with. And
Right.
what I have proposed in the budget that I sent you is to put about half of it into that fire station, new fire station fund,
Mm-hmm.
and use some of the rest to reduce taxes. Use, well,
I'd be more in favor of putting it all in the fire station.
pardon?
I'd be in favor of keeping, putting it all in there and just keeping and not going up with taxes.
Well,
Okay.
remember that our taxes may well go up because we're anticipating, salary increases for Rob, fuel costs.
Okay,
I mean,
so all of that is
No, that's
counted
all.
in the budget. So let's
increases to the Village of Bellows Falls is in the sewer budget, not in this budget. We don't have any
True.
payroll in this budget.
True.
Okay. I had thought that it might be reasonable to actually look at reducing the tax bill. And if you go over to the raised by taxes on the left side, the bottom line, this is the amount that we've raised from taxes in past years.
Yeah.
Last year, the year before, and you notice that 2 years ago, there was a really big jump.
Mhm.
And we got a lot of pushback from that. I think that it might not hurt. We'd have to give her up. There's a break and return some of this windfall money that we have to the.
It sounds like it.
To reduce the tax bill.
I'm just not sure where, Carl, I'm just not sure where with this windfall is.
Not with, it's the cash on hand.
Yeah.
The $44,986 cash on
I
hand.
see.
Uh-huh.
Well, again, I'm not, I would be in favor of keeping the tax rate, the same. We're going to be building a fire station that's going to need all the money we can get. And that's where that money
I
should go.
don't think so. Where is it?
If you drop it down, we're going to play the same game. If you drop the taxes that are owed, and then we go and do a fire station, and all of a sudden our taxes have gone up, 20%, to pay for the fire station. So I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think that you should offset too much there. If they don't go up, they don't go up. That would be the best case scenario.
So Sarah, did you want to make a point?
Monday through Sunday. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
So what
not,
you're proposing is
I-
to rent the
Who
I
we got
don't think-
talking about?
cabin house.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand. Sarah, can you speak first and then Matt?
Yeah, there's somebody talking in the background very loudly. I think that's what Matt was saying.
Mhm.
So it is a little hard. I guess this is a different worksheet than the one I'm looking at. So let me look at my screen. I'm with Matt, and I want a new fire building probably as much as Matt does. But I think we've had a couple people mention the tax rate. I don't feel like there's been a huge outcry against it. If you look at our tax rate comparably and services, it's a decent, it's not horrible. If we keep the sewer, if we don't go up on sewer and we kept the tax rate the same,
Mhm.
we're still gonna have the opportunity, not the opportunity, but we've had some real estate in the village sell at very high, like everyone else in Vermont, high prices. We will benefit from that. When we do the percentages, because if we keep the tax rate the same, because I would assume their tax rate will go up. The houses that were valued at 350 that are now going to be valued at, what they sold for, 700.
Mhm.
And we have probably 4 properties that sold for substantially more. So I think if we keep the tax rate the same, if we keep the sewer the same, and we have some money going into when we do a big project, I think that's what we need to do. I haven't had anyone come to, that's not true. I've had two people who've come to me and said, hey, could you not charge me interest because I'm going to pay you in payments? And we've done that. You know, we've had some people benefit from getting grants from the state. But I think that was almost more me going out and telling people this is here for you, not as much people seeking it out.
Is the number of liens the same? Are we seeing any impact that way?
Yeah, they've gone up because some of the people who were paid off when they refinanced their house are not paying again, still not paying.
Nobody added to the list? I mean, you're not seeing people who are just struggling and for the first time they're turning up?
No, we have people, it's not because they're struggling, it's because they're either waiting on somebody else to pay it but we've had several properties. We've had a property on School Street, a property on two properties on Main Street, who have paid off fairly large liens. One was $10,000 between sewer and taxes.
Mhm.
Another one was 29 Main was, I think, off the top of my head, 3,500 between, and it's mostly sewer, honestly, when they pay it off. But I think leaving it the same is a bonus for everyone in a day when we're all paying more for gas and we're all paying more for food. If we can leave it alone and make sure that we're not struggling or diving into our reserves next year, because we don't know what's coming down the pike. So in other words, I agree with Matt, and I could have just said that.
So the one person who hasn't weighed in besides me is Rick. Any comments, Rick?
I think if we can keep the tax rate as close as we can to normal, I think we should put as much of this money in, because we know this is a very expensive venture and we know how much we need it and we wanted it. And the more we can put into it now, the less it's going to hurt later. You know, when I look at the raise by taxes and, you know, what Carl's got right now is $10,000 less, you know, almost $10,000 less than last year. So let's try to, you know, do we not put the whole 40 in? Do we put?
Well, here's the thing.
So
we never put the 20,000 in. Oh, sorry.
Well, and the last thing I want to do is, you know, that cash on hand, does that take into account what all of our encumbrances through the rest of the year? Or, you know, so are we actually going to have 44,000 or whatever it is at the end of the year?
I don't think so.
What's your instinct, Sarah?
My instinct is that we'll have some, but I don't. I have to explore, because Carl and I are going back and forth on how much money is in the fire station development account and where it came from. So he thinks there should be 10,000 in it, and there's 34. So I need to make sure I have the right accounts. I want you to know, you all know that we have 11 accounts. Just insane. And the auditors have had the computer for much of the last couple of weeks. So I have to dig a little deeper, but I think we have more in the account than we think we do, but we don't have the 20,000.
What
That
20,000 are you referring to?
Oh, I thought when we talked on the phone yesterday that you said we had budgeted 20,000 last year.
Yes, and I got back to you, and that's what I said, what I meant when I said that figure was not accurate when I went back and looked at the actual budget that was approved at town.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that was
Okay.
something that appeared on a worksheet that I inherited that was erroneous, so
Okay,
we did not budget that.
okay. Because we put 5,000 in,
I believe so, yeah,
yeah,
or 5,000.
yeah. There's no rule against us having extra money, correct?
That's correct, as far as I know.
Yeah, so, and again, so if we could wait and see, I just worry about every price going up for everything. You know, I'm gonna bet that the policing goes up at some point. There'll be a fuel surcharge, or they'll charge us more.
Did that get added? We know they're gonna charge us more. Is that in the budget?
It's in the budget, yeah.
Okay.
We haven't got to the line items yet. We're still
Okay.
talking about in principle, do we want to keep the tax rate the same? And what do we want to do with the cash on hand?
So again, I say keep the tax rate the same and put as much as possible into the fire station.
Okay, would you like to make a motion to that effect? Or,
So moved.
okay,
Second. I guess, are we making I'm a little puzzled if we need a motion for that, if we're working out the budget, do we?
I wouldn't think so, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like us to keep working on the budget before we get to making motions. I mean, I think I understand where people are coming from, but could we work through the budget and make sure that I at least am on top of the details before we make the overarching decisions?
right, so we have to come to an agreement of what's happening with the cash on hand before we
Yeah.
start the budget.
I think that, well,
No, I think just the opposite. I think I understand the cash on hand now. And I wish we could go through the budget and make sure that we're all secure so that
So,
we can
all right,
be knowledgeable.
I will retract my earlier motion. So we need to go through the budget without the cash on hand and see where we come up, right? Is
That
that,
sounds good to me.
okay?
Is that
let's
your
roll.
plan, Carl?
no, it's not. I want to, because the fire station development, which is in the budget, I took that figure, based on the cash on hand. Now, Matt, you're saying you want that we want to put as much as we can into that.
Of the cash on hand. Now,
Okay.
what you have proposed there is not taking, you're saying $20,000 in the next budget to go into the fire station, correct?
Yep.
Okay,
So
so we can go down through this and see where the tax rate is. And
Okay,
without cash on hand. And if we need to offset, and then we do.
okay, we'll try that. So let's go then through the line items.
So refresh my memory, Carl. We are looking at the budget for 2022.
To 2023.
And so that is beginning January 1st, 2022?
Nope, it's beginning July 1st. July 1st to June 31st
Mhm.
is our fiscal year.
Okay,
Cash on hand is the amount of cash left over as of June 31st, 2020. Is that right?
No,
2020.
2021.
2021? Okay. You're right. I get confused following what year is what. Yeah, you're right, 2021. I'm looking at the wrong column. Okay, so we're looking at the last column H,
Yep,
okay?
yep.
Column E is what we budgeted for this year. Column H is what comes up for next year. Administration, 2,500. I think that could be the same, stay the same.
Okay,
That's postage, supplies, half the stipend for the tax collector and treasurer, stipend for the clerk. et cetera. Most of those things don't change.
And next year, we're gonna have a cost for QuickBooks. An annual cost
For what?
QuickBooks.
QuickBooks for the new software program.
So is that $350?
I believe so.
under administration.
Yes, but we shouldn't need to increase the budget.
Well, no, the numbers in between, if we're at 25 and I'm seeing two numbers there, 51119 and 767.
Right, the
511 is what we.
the
511 is what we-
767 is not right.
Too low, too high?
Too low.
Okay,
Okay.
let me explain what the actual amounts are there. So the March year to date is what we had actually spent as of the beginning of March.
Yep,
The projected is just, I took how many days of the year
Right.
March is,
Yeah,
and took that and multiplied by the fraction to bring it up to 365.
Mhm.
That's just, if we spent at the same rate, that's where we would end up.
mhm,
Okay,
That's the projected end of year expense.
mhm. And what I'm saying is we're gonna spend at least $1,000 more.
well, we've agreed to purchase a laptop and QuickBooks.
Right,
And those two amounts,
so that's in the next budget.
no,
No,
we
that's in
made that
this budget.
decision several weeks ago.
Okay.
And the sooner the better.
Mhm. Okay, so is 2,500 not enough? Is that what?
No, I'm saying I think it's fine. We're just at the end of year. I didn't know what the end of year is being used for. And if,
What we spend between now and the end of June doesn't affect the budget number.
okay, then,
Okay.
okay,
So we're good?
Unless it's something that we're going to spend again next year.
yeah,
If we're going to buy a computer every year, then we need to increase the budget to account for it. If
Well,
we're
we
just
haven't-
gonna go
we
over
haven't
the-
bought a computer in 10 years, so I think we can make the next one last a
Yeah.
couple of years.
So our
right.
administration budget came in way under what we anticipated. I mean, it'll come up with the cost of the QuickBooks and the computer, but those would not be typical administration expenses.
This is why we have cash on hand at the end of the year.
That's right.
Because we budget for more, substantially more than we have actually spent in the past.
Right.
And that's our cushion to make sure we've got enough money to cover expenses. So
Okay,
we don't want to we should not be budgeting to just barely cover what the costs in the past are.
Yep.
We need
Right.
that extra hedge.
okay.
Because
So we good with the 2,500? I'm good with it.
I'm good.
All right.
Yes,
Building?
Building. There's some painting in there that was not anticipated. That's why that number is high.
Yeah.
I don't expect that the building costs will be higher next year.
Okay. I'm good.
Electricity. I think the electricity might be a little bit more expensive. The bills have been coming in a little bit over 1,500 total for the last couple of years. We would suggest we raise that.
So that's where the 17 is?
That's where the 17 is.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
I think that's sensible.
Fast Squad, 2,300. I've gotten no indication from anybody that we need more.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, I'm fine with it.
fire department.
Can I hold up just for a minute? Does that, oh, so it's very low, but this doesn't show payment for the EMT who recertified or certified for the first time.
I haven't seen a bill yet.
You talking about the expenses out of the current budget?
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
I'm sorry, it was just a
Again,
thought.
again, I think we should just, I
Yep,
don't think we should be talking about that now.
okay, thank you. I
That's a-
stand corrected.
Yep.
Good point.
Okay, fire department.
Fire department. I got an email from Art saying he thought we needed to increase the budget by $3,500 for the fire department.
So the 21.5.
20, that's where the 21.5 comes from. Art had said he would attempt to Zoom in tonight, but I don't see him here.
Okay, I'm fine with that number.
Okay. Fire department capital reserve
Yep,
for their equipment that they might need. I think we should hold that fine.
yep.
Okay. Fire station study. We haven't budgeted anything for that for a while. So I don't think we're planning on studying anymore.
Well, we have that feasibility grant in.
Right. So,
Yeah, again,
so
that's
this is the number here that well, we're at the study. We're going to go 0 on that, correct?
again, are we planning a feasibility grant for next year?
No, we're
Okay,
waiting to hear whether we got this year's grant.
Okay. I want to come back to the subject of grants a little bit. Let's just go through the rest of the line items and then remind me to come back to that. Okay, fire station development. This is the money that we've been talking about from the cash on hand.
Yep.
I had suggested a contribution of 20,000 to that.
Now, can I stop you there?
Yes.
I mean, we're doing the budget, so this would be reflected in the tax rate. So we're either this is in there or it's not in there. If it's in as that you have it, then it affects the tax rate.
Yes.
Okay, so the 20,000 you have listed there, it's not coming out of the cash on hand.
Not directly.
It's money to
Well,
be
it's
raised
not.
by
It's money
taxes.
that's being raised by taxes.
No, because it's in the total budget. But from that total budget, we take a certain amount from cash on hand. And that comes to the amount raised by taxes.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
I hope we're okay there.
So
The other thing
we may or may not have $44,000 cash on hand. Is that the deal? Speculating, we're close, we're not sure. What's the?
I don't think we're going to, because I would say that we'll have about 8,000, but
the cash on hand is not something that's going to change.
okay.
Cash on hand is as of June 2021.
So as of that date, we had that
As
amount
of
of
that
money.
date, we had that, yeah.
Mhm. Well,
As
then,
I understand it, all of these budgets are based on the cash on hand at the end of
right.
of that previous fiscal year.
Well, if we have $44,000 cash on hand, we should be putting more than $20,000 towards the fire station. Again, I think it's a false sense of what's coming down the pike, just like when we were planning to build the new wastewater treatment plant. Ben said, we can't, I think we did it one year, but the reality is when we build the fire station, the taxes are going up. So anything we can do now to help offset that. And Ben was having us up the rates for the wastewater treatment plant, so that people didn't get this false sense of, oh, you know, we're 300, we're 300, we're 300. Oh, now it's 800. You know, so it's the same thing with the fire station.
So what do you?
My feeling.
Hold on a second, Carl. We've got a question from Rick.
Oh, okay.
That's more of a comment than a question, but I agree with Matt. I think that if we try to budget under too much, or, or even like level funding, that it's almost going to hurt worse. It's going to be harder next year if we have to go up a little bit. And I was going to make a suggestion that maybe we should consider, I don't know if the town of Rockingham does this, but I know like the school board, when we would have money like this, we would actually put it as an article for the town to vote on. So we would vote on, we have a surplus, I guess we could call this a surplus of $44,000, and motion for the floor to apply it to the fire station development. I don't know if that's a direction we want to go or consider, or
I think.
I wouldn't.
I would
May I
not.
comment to that? We've
So
already,
let's have, I'm sorry, Carl, go ahead. I think we need to work through this very carefully and patiently.
I just want to point out that we have already published the warning, and so we can't add this as an article
Okay.
this year. That's not an option.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it can be, well, we can't. And this is all going to be in print by the time we get to town meeting. We're working towards a deadline to have all of these things figured out. So I think this is on us. Maybe another year we'll be better prepared, but I'm feeling extremely raw and new at this business.
So my suggestion would be that if we want to keep our tax rate the same, that 20,000 would be 4,000, and the cash on hand goes into that fire station account. However you have to do that, but you have 20 there. In the years, the two numbers I'm seeing in E and G are $4,000. So if we are to keep the tax rate the same, that number would have to be the same. Is that correct, Carl?
Could you restate that? I'm not sure I'm following what you're saying.
Well, I'm trying to make all the numbers work. So E and G in that line, fire station development, are $4,000.
Okay,
So that was what was put in those years to start building monies up again, correct?
okay.
The fire station development.
Okay.
So you have 20,000 in there. If you put 4, that's what we're going to raise in taxes, and whatever the cash on hand is left over goes in there. I don't know how you have to show it or what, but.
Okay, so I think I've got you. So the way that I did this, and I admit it was a little bit difficult for me to figure out based on past budgets that I could access, how to do it, was to put everything into the budget and then apply the cash on hand against it.
I see.
At the end.
Okay.
But what you're saying is
Okay.
that you should put 4,000 into the budget here.
Well, I'm not trying to change what you need to do. I understand what you're saying now. I'm just saying.
Well, but I think it's important that we work through it. So you're suggesting that we budget the 4,000.
Yep.
And not consider the 44,000 cash on hand at all.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess.
Build a budget based on that, not reduce the taxes from cash on hand
Right.
and put all that cash on hand into the
Yep.
fire station.
Fire
fund.
station development. Yeah, that's, I just think if we can hold the rate, I think going down is a mistake because it's just going to go up when we build the fire station. So,
So Sarah has her hand up. I'm gonna want to just make sure we hear from our treasurer before we go further.
So Carl, I just went into the account, which is the Village Capital SRV FD account. And the money we have in it, I'm not gonna call it cash on hand, the money we have in it right now is $34,212.74. And last year, on 3/16/21, $5,000 was put into it. And on 2/7/2020, $5,000 was put into it. And on 6/13/2019, $5,000 was put into it. So that looks like, and then in 2018, $4,000 was put into it. Going all the way back, 17, 4,000. And then we spent a whole bunch of money before that. A whole bunch of money on studies and stuff. And it looks like 5,000, 4,000 was more the norm.
Okay,
And this is the fire department development fund that you're talking about? The fire station development fund?
Yes,
So you're thinking it's now at 34,000 plus, I mean, plus a little, but about 34,000?
yeah, as of, where are we? Yes, yeah,
Okay. So we're not talking cash on hand. We're talking about what is in the fire development fund.
right. And that the previous 2 years, actually through the previous 4 years, 5,000 has been put in every year.
5,000, not 4,000.
That's, yes, 5,000.
that's so we have the fire department capital reserve has 5,000. Fire station development has 4,000.
Right. So let me go into that other account.
so what is the fire station, the fire department capital reserve? Where does that stand?
That's what I'm gonna go in.
Okay,
It's very complicated.
Wait till you have that new computer. You got to go out and get that, Sarah.
It's gonna be, our whole lives are gonna change because the thought would be that at least every 2 months you guys get I'm not committing to every month, but that you get,
An update. Sounds
An update.
good.
yeah. And this is where I'm having a little trouble because, so this is the fire department fundraiser.
Mhm.
That doesn't sound like capital reserve.
Nope, that's,
That's masks.
yeah, well, hell, it has $8,000 in it.
That's Celia's one-woman show.
And Debbie Wetzel.
And
but
Debbie
pretty
too?
much- Yeah,
Yep.
the two of them.
So I don't
So-
think that's what we want to look at. I think we want the capital reserve.
I know, I'm looking for it, and this is where I'm. So there's a capital reserve that has 27,000 in it. And that's the general reserve. You have to understand, just so you know, what they're called in the computer and what they're called on the statements are also two entirely different things. So I have to go by the numbers. Rec, the wastewater. Yeah, I'm not sure. I will get that number to you. I literally don't know what it is. There's a 34. I don't know if it's the same one. With these funds that nothing really happens, I just do the reconciliation, add the, $1.65 or whatever it is interest and reconcile it. So I haven't really been, I don't ever pay anything out of it. So I haven't been paying any attention to it.
okay. How many accounts do you have associated with the fire department? Or the fire station?
I have, hold on, the fire department fundraiser, and I have the reserve. So I only have one
The fire department capital reserve.
there. Yes.
Okay. Neither of those are the ones that the one that we're talking about, right?
Right,
That's
so
what I'm not-
how long have we had these two different lines?
Let's see, this one goes back
As far as the
to-
budget, fire station
Uh,
development, fire station capital reserve.
Okay, this one, the capital one goes back to 2007.
Yeah. Fire station development,
It says MM Capital SRVFD. And yeah, so in 2010, the village put $5,000 into it.
fire station development.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that was
Um,
probably more for hiring, engineers and architects,
yeah.
and the capital
then-
reserve was,
Yeah, but then there's $11,000 for in 2016 for fire hose purchase.
mm-hmm, yeah, that's not an account.
Cotton design, $9,000.
Yeah, that was where the chunk of that was saved up for fire station development was spent.
Right. So that's all in this one account.
So that does sound like fire station development.
So
Yeah.
what is all in one account? The fire station development is in with the capital reserve?
I believe so, because it's $34,000 in that account.
In the fire station development?
No, reserve. Is that right?
I don't have things called different things. This is what I'm trying to figure out. I'm hesitant to say it, but I think I need Peter Bergstrom. This has been one of my bugaboos since taking over this job, was the 11 different, here it is, accounts. And yeah, so what Peter has for listed for accounts, and it fire department fundraiser, and the money market account for the Saxtons River Fire Department, which is the one that has $34,000 in it. I don't have another account.
Say that again?
So I don't have another fire department account.
You have a capital reserve account.
I have a capital reserve account and I have the fundraiser account.
Okay.
But you don't
So-
have a fire department development account,
That's correct.
although you have payments coming for things like the
Well, it looks like they're
plan.
combined. Yeah, it looks like they're combined because Pearl was
Right.
like, you should only have $10,000 in it. And I was like, I have more. Not I, but
In the capital reserve? You saying?
I think, okay, so I'm gonna read out loud the accounts we have for the village. We have a general fund for the village. We have a Saxtons River Fire Department Money Market Capital account. We have a village capital
Whoa.
reserve
The capital
money
account.
market account. We have a rec account. We have a park account. We have the wastewater treatment plant general account. We have the wastewater treatment plant money market account. We have a wastewater treatment plant capital account, a wastewater treatment plant upgrade, and a fire department fundraiser. Yeah, Matt, you run a business and I ran a couple different businesses and you know how crazy I think this is.
Oy, oy, oy. So fire station development is just going into, well, it's not the capital reserve. It's not,
Right, but what I'm
it's
saying
not going
is,
into the money market.
yeah,
right?
I don't know where it's, so I suspect that you've been budgeting to the fire department capital reserve and the fire department development, and it's just all been going into one account.
Right, right. Sounds like it.
And so we don't want that to happen, right?
Let me tell you about how I feel if you say open another account.
No, I don't know.
No,
Well,
we
it's
just want better, we want bookkeeping that allows
Right.
you to.
Right. Well, essentially, Amy, what's been happening is checkbook. We
Yeah.
haven't, what I hope to accomplish with the new system will be that we will actually have a bookkeeping, that I'm not going to Excel spreadsheets to see if somebody paid their water bill or not.
Yep.
You know, and so that you will be able to look and go, oh no, we have this much. We're spending this much. We have this much. We need to move this much into the, wastewater treatment plant because the government is going to come in and take out that much. That's my goal. But this has helped me understand that there aren't these two. One of them is a ghost account.
right. That's going in, yeah. So
then
back to,
yeah, I think then that Matt's suggestion, since we don't know where the money is going, makes sense that for the purposes of the budget, we should probably keep the fire station development at $4,000. And we should probably say that we will take the cash on hand and put it into a fund for new fire station and keep the.
And that can just be a line.
which would be in the capital reserve. I mean,
Yes.
that's where the money's being held.
Yes.
Is that?
Is it
Because
though? I mean,
any monies in the fire department capital reserve are going to be used for the fire station.
is
No.
that the
That's not
definition?
true.
That's
Matt?
it's yeah, it's this there. I think it gets a better rate or something, but that
I think
would be-
that fire department capital reserve is also used for equipment needs.
Yes, but I think we budget.
right. It's probably where
for
we
the-
pulled the $11,000 out for the hose that we had to
Right.
buy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is we want to make sure that if we have $10,000 that we want to put towards the new fire station, that if that goes into that account, it doesn't get spent on hoses in the
Yep.
future.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think,
And
Go
again,
ahead.
here's an easy way to do it is when when I actually bookkeep it,
Mhm.
it will be a line in
Right.
it. When
Yep.
we're not using personal Quicken, that's easy.
Yep.
It becomes, clicking a button
Mhm.
and then you go, that's where the money is.
Okay, I am going to. I'm just going to change screens for a moment.
so these are the definitions, correct?
Yep. It's 6. Okay, so looking at line 6 here, which is the fire department capital reserve.
Mhm.
My understanding or what's on the worksheet is that this is new equipment and apparatus. And that the fire station development is expenses related to the new fire station construction.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
we need to keep those lines.
Now, wait a minute. Now, then you have,
I'm
then you have
just-
line 8. You want to read that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, reserve for expenses related to new fire station construction. That's the,
So 7 and 8 are kind of the same.
Right.
So we have one account to save money in, and we're putting 3 line items into it. Is that,
Yeah, but I'm not even sure that's been happening, Matt. So I'll look. I need to talk to Alex also.
okay. Well, we need to track it so we know which monies are
Right.
going there.
Right, exactly.
We need the
and I'll-
capital reserve for apparatus and equipment.
And I think what I'll have to do is go back through the budgets. We've got this 34,000. How much was of that 34,000 is
New fire station
equipment.
versus equipment.
Yeah, and that's just putting in 2 different lines into the
Yep.
thing.
Okay. So back to the budget.
Back to the budget. Okay. Let's just for a moment change the fire station development to $4,000 like it
Okay.
was last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
let's do that. Let's move on to the other items.
Okay.
Okay, heat. This is a rough one.
Yeah.
So I talked to Chris Coda, who put me in touch with another person at Coda and Coda, who said, we have no idea where fuel oil is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I looked at, and I'm going to go back to the Word document again. So looking at line 9, if fuel oil were to cost, we budget for an average of 1,700 gallons. This is
Okay.
Fire Station Community Center.
Yep.
And so you see there what that $1,700 would cost at various costs per gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the last I saw in the reformer was $4.89 a gallon, which would be somewhere between $7,600 and $8,900 for 17 gallons.
All right.
Okay.
And
So looking at numbers like that and gazing deep into my crystal ball, that's where I came up with, bumped it up by $3,200, $3,250 by 50%
Yep.
budget for that. That's a lot of money, but I don't know what else to do about it.
Yep. That's what should be done.
Is that
I'm fine with it.
all right? Good.
to put it in perspective, almost that entire $4,000 was from January.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
we won't be paying that until next January?
No, what I'm
That's-
saying is we had a really mild November and December. And we're still gonna be paying, so that if next year we don't have a mild November and December, it will, Carl's very right to put that at that number.
I'm just worried that it might not be enough.
Yeah. Well,
So I'm wondering if anybody here has a perspective. Rick, do you know what Chroma is planning? I mean, I assume that that's a facility that makes the same kind of projections and guesses. And have you heard anything about what their predictions are for the coming year?
Well, they who makes them is me, so,
Well, that's what I thought. Sorry to put you on the spot like this, but
well, I mean,
I'm
I work with others to do it as well, but we just upped it based on kind of our average number of gallons and what our fear that the price might be.
Yeah, so same thing.
so these numbers
Yeah.
look reasonable to you, Rick?
I have no idea how many gallons that equates to or what the dollar amount attributed to that is, so.
Well, 1,700 gallons.
1,700 gallons.
Times,
At-
say,
You had
4.25.
no, he was up to 5, right? 5.25. I think it was your high end.
At 5.25, it would be $8,900,
Then you're 87 something.
and we're 97.5.
You know, I would leave it there, and
Mhm.
Yeah,
next year we may have a few more bucks for the fire development fund.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so yeah, that covers the maximum that I anticipated.
Because there's also the weather
Yeah.
factor in that for here.
An unknown. All right,
Okay, so
We could probably reduce it if we get a new fire station.
there you go.
I don't think that's going to happen on this year's budget. Insurance, 7,000, which is what we budgeted in the past, and I just kept it the same.
Okay,
Policing went up based on the new contract amount that Amy gave me. I raised it to 8,700, which is a little bit more than the actual contract cost, but it rounds
Okay.
it up to a nice even number.
all right.
Amy, do you remember what the actual was?
for the sheriff,
8640
yeah, that's what you wrote in your notes.
is the next, is what the current contract would be.
Mhm.
So I thought
I think that's
8640
fine.
was a funky number, so I put it,
Yep.
made it 8,700.
Yep,
Okay. Telephone, I thought we might want to increase it by a little bit because our phone bills have been going a little bit over $750 historically.
okay.
Carl, why do
Okay.
we have a triple play on both the wastewater treatment plant and the fire station?
Can we do that another time?
Sure.
Make a note of it, please, Sarah, and
Yeah.
don't let us forget it, but I don't want to, I want to keep chugging on
I would
this.
assume it's the least expensive way to go.
Hmm.
A quick answer.
And we have different plans at the two different places because the systems were installed differently. I can answer that question for you, but not tonight. I'd have to go back to some notes. I had a long discussion with VTEL about this about 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is we got the cheapest we could.
Okay.
So we're at 1,000 for telephone, and now
Yeah.
we're on to the capital reserve.
Yeah. So for $2,000, again, that's what we've been putting in routinely.
Okay,
Okay, so with that $4,000 for the fire station development, it brings the total budget to $68,450. And if we want to keep it level funded, that means we would, that we would be spending $9,000 roughly of the cash
cash
on
on.
hand.
cash on hand. Yeah.
And the balance of that cash on hand would be floating someplace. So,
Earmarked for the fire station, something. But,
well, right now it's not put anywhere.
or right, I know, but that's, I mean. Right.
So now, yeah. So
Well-
if we were to budget the $4,000, if we were to take about $9,000 from the cash on hand, that would keep it, the total amount raised by taxes the same as last year. And so presumably most people's tax bills would stay the same if their assessments hadn't changed, if their portion of the grand list remained the same. And then, so then we have the extra cash on hand and we have the fire station building account. So now, as I understand, Matt, what you're suggesting is we should take some of this uncommitted cash on hand and move it to an account for the fire station without passing it through the budget?
Well, it matters not to me how it gets moved. You know, we're not trying to hide money or anything like that, but I'm not looking to take the $44,000 and lower everyone's taxes, knowing that we have to build a fire station. So I don't know the legality of how to move it or show it, but I think that you know, I'd almost yeah, I'd almost be in favor of you know, letting taxes go up a tick, but it's probably a good time to hold them as they are.
Okay,
So
What I will
however,
say is,
however
I
that
don't-
has to, however that has to move, I don't know, do you list it as, you know, remaining cash on hand to be distributed to, you know, put into the fire station new construction fund or whatever, however you want to say it. So I don't know if you show it in the budget or what you do with it.
And I don't actually have $44,000 to throw in an account.
So as
Yep.
of June 2021, the end of June 2021, there was no amount that looks like the cash on hand that Carl has told us exists.
Well, yes, in theory, there is that money. Because you're counting all the money that we're saying we're raising from taxes, but we don't actually get all the money that we say we're raising for taxes.
Well, cash on
Because
hand
then-
is cash on hand, regardless. We either have it or we don't have it.
Then never mind. I'm very tired and I think I'm losing my mind, but I wanted to look at the statement from that. So hold on. Maybe I'm just crazy. That could be too.
Well, let's take our time and go through this. I would very much like to get it right tonight.
Yeah.
So that when we stand before the voters and tell them our decisions, they understand how our minds worked.
and, you know, we have to have this decided before we publish that budget motion
Right.
in the materials for the annual meeting.
So are
Because
you
the-
talking about the annual report, Carl? That's typically when that appears,
In
correct?
the annual report, yes, there will be a list of the, well,
The budgets will be listed and the amounts.
the budgets and the budgets and amounts will be listed in there. Yes, and then when the actual meeting comes, we will say a budget of so many dollars, of
Right.
which so much will be from cash on hand and so much will be raised from taxes.
Correct. Now, do we have a stipulate? We have published the warrant. You and I are making sure that happens.
Yeah.
I didn't actually look for it. Oh, I think I'm not sure whether the reformer got it, when the reformer got it. I think the earliest it could be in the reformer would be tomorrow. Is there a similar requirement for the annual report? I mean, obviously, I would like it out well ahead so people could read it. At the moment, I'm waiting on the auditors, but I think they're just about ready to give me their materials once they have their meeting. Is there a specific time that the annual report has to appear before the town meeting is held?
Probably.
I don't know.
Okay, neither.
All I have investigated is the timing for the warning.
So
I think typically it appears about 2 weeks before the annual meeting, but I haven't seen anything that says there's a specific time. I thought somebody might know that.
Louise. Oh, what are
Carl,
we
go
doing?
over
this
the
budget?
cash on hand with me again. Can you go down to that part of the screen?
Okay, this,
Yeah,
Okay, so it's all based on the total cash on hand, and that's the number you gave me, $44,986. Cash on hand as of June 30th, 2021.
okay, well, so I'm confused by the levy relative to 2019.
Okay, this was just something I put in. So I said, well, if we kept the taxes level, what would the
Oh, okay.
have to be?
Okay.
If we reduce the taxes by 15%, what would it have to be? If we doubled the taxes, what would it have to be? So
Okay.
it doesn't change that tax on that cash on hand. That's fixed.
And the cash on hand,
Mhm.
I think I put the capital reserves in that number.
Okay.
Yeah, I am so sorry.
Okay, so that cash on hand number is not correct.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Better now than later.
Yeah.
Better we know it now than later.
So I'm looking at the end number for the statement. Let me go get the statement for July 1st or July 30th.
I think this is an appropriate time to remind everybody that Matt's been here before. Rick and I are, I should be a little smarter. I've been on the board for a year. And this is Sarah's first year through. So it's to be expected that it's going to go slow. We may stumble a little, but thanks everybody for hanging in there.
Oh, I think I already.
And I would also point out that this is my first time doing this.
Oh, that's right. You did not hold this role last year.
Ben Wallace did
Oh.
this last year in the past.
Yep.
So,
Okay. So if we're talking just general fund money, hold on to your horses. $3,671.44.
just a second. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, and I'll come back, but I need to look for something.
Sarah, could you read me that figure again, please?
Okay, $3,671.44.
So that is the general fund after
Yes.
all the taxes came in, what you had left at the end of the year?
That's how much the bank statement says, which is apparently what we're going on. Cash on hand.
Okay. I'm going to go back and, if I can, share screen again.
You have the power.
Yeah, but I have to, now I just hid myself. Share screen. Okay, I don't know if this helps, but this is from
Last year's annual report?
well, it's actually the year before, but it's the first one I came to. So this is how Alex calculated the cash on hand, Sarah. Does this help you at all?
Yes, I don't think I see the whole thing.
So I'm
Yes,
looking
there's
at
a
underneath
bottom line.
totals. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we had a lot of village accounts as of July 1st, $34,000.
yeah, but see, that's what I'm not sure what account that is. So can you go up? So does village accounts mean all the accounts that are the villages?
Okay. This is,
Down to July. So 36, but we took a whole bunch of money out of here. So we're including the reserve fund in that village accounts cash on hand.
No, the reserve funds are below.
we should not be.
Oh, okay. See, that's where, so I guess I'm confused by it being plural. And when we talked about it, I think I thought, general capital. Yeah, so I'm gonna stick with that $3,000 number
That changes things.
because we took, yeah, so I need to grab out. Can you send that to me, Carl?
Send
This
what
is-
to the,
It's just the
that
annual
page?
report.
Oh, okay.
I
It's
can send-
Alex's annual report from the year before last.
Okay. So I just need to look at last year's annual report also.
So if our cash on hand is $3,000, then we don't have enough cash on hand to keep expenses, to keep taxes level funded. So I think we need to resolve that cash on hand question before we can really finalize our discussion of the budget.
Yeah.
Okay,
So last year we took,
let's move on.
yeah. So last year in May and in June, they were borrowed money from the reserve. 3,000.
Was that the paving?
No, this was just to
Just to
make
meet
expenses,
Just to meet expenses.
meet expenses, and then that got paid back. So it was this total of 7,000, and then we 6,000, and then we paid that back in September when we had the money. So I don't know how to. So do you actually say you have negative money if you are including a loan, or do you put the loan somewhere?
I
Sounds
don't-
like a question for Alex.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So it sounds like we aren't ready to continue working on this budget tonight. That's my sense of where we
Yep.
are. Sarah, what's your reaction?
Yeah, I profusely apologize. I had no idea. I think I just added everything together,
Well, it gave us a
Thinking-
moment of joy.
thinking that it was literally the cash on hand.
$44,000 for the new fire station.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, you see why I was so,
Yes, I do.
I was
And
so excited when you said that and why I kept saying, is this right? Is this right?
yeah.
And okay, so then we should table this until we have until Sarah resolves the cash on hand issue.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that we should also then table the question of how much to put towards the new fire station until we know how much is there to put from.
Well, yeah, that's part of this budget, so.
Yeah.
And okay,
So can we deal with that just for a minute? Our next scheduled meeting is not until April. Sarah, what kind of time do you think is reasonable for you to meet with Alex?
Well, it's more about Alex. I'm here for the next week and a half, so it's more about Alex's schedule than mine.
But a week might be adequate.
Yeah. I could do next Monday. I get on a plane on Tuesday.
How do people feel about meeting next Monday night?
If that's what needs to happen,
that's
then
what
we need
needs to
to
happen to do the budget, yeah.
move
Yeah.
tonight along too.
I'll
Okay,
tell
do we
you,
have a
we have a-
quorum since we have Matt, me and Carl? Rick, can you be there next Monday night? Do you have another commitment?
Oh, there's no place I'd rather be.
Okay,
You bet.
all right,
do
so we will
It's
table
okay.
this discussion until March 28th at 7 PM.
Okay.
And I think this will be the only discussion we'll have, but I will do, so it'll be a special meeting. So think tonight, and I'll put the agenda together fairly soon. If there are other things you want to discuss, we can add them to it. But I think this is important enough. It makes perfect sense that we should need a full meeting to, well, a full special meeting to get this squared away.
All right, next.
Okay, Sarah, don't leave for a minute.
I'm not.
I want to skip to, oh, it's the next item on the agenda, return to in-person meeting. So I don't know how I feel about this, but Rick, you asked to have it on the agenda, so I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
Oh, I'm ready. I don't want to do any hybrid meetings. So that we either need to make the decision to stay virtual or go back to in-person at some point. I don't know how much longer the state's going to allow us to continue to do virtual. So we should start thinking about it, being prepared. If we do go back to in-person, or where are we going to do it? And are we going to go back to the fire station? Are we going to go to Main Street Arts? Are we going to sit in the park and hope it doesn't rain?
I think the park would be awkward. We have at least one person who I think likes to take minutes on the computer, which suggests to me that Main Street Arts might be the place to be. I would also
What's
like
wrong
us,
with the fire station?
it's tiny and cramped.
Tiny
There
and
isn't much
cramped,
room in there.
right?
Main Street Arts.
We've been having it there for years.
Yep. So you haven't been to a meeting at Main Street Arts?
Yeah, but you know,
I thought
Well,
doesn't matter to me. If you're gonna do it, then I just don't want to spend a lot of time on it tonight. But we got to get other stuff done.
Well, this is where I have to put this in for our next meeting. So, I mean, it's
It can
on the
be-
agenda.
It can be,
I would
I'm happy with tabling anything on today's agenda until our next regular meeting.
Okay, so I'm going to skip that.
Yeah,
But please be thinking about it. I mean, I was also
Yep.
reading up on the new variant today and thinking, well, maybe it's too soon. So we're going to skip that until later. So committee reports. Hartley Hill and Pleasant Valley intersections. Carl, do you want to report briefly? You must be tired at this point.
I am tired. I've been spending most of my time dealing with these budget worksheets. I won't describe them as I feel about them right now, but you may have noticed that Ellen sent a picture of the new sign on the Pleasant Valley Road intersection. So that has been resolved, and nothing more has happened on Hartley Hill that I know of.
Okay, great.
How'd she get her sign first?
Well, I think it was simpler.
Easy fix.
Trust me,
Yeah.
Ellen is very persistent.
Although I would like to point out that when Ellen asked for, couldn't she have sidewalks up there? Andy Howarth made it happen. So maybe we should have Ellen do all our communications
Oh, there should be
with
something.
the highway department.
All right, next.
All right.
Matt, I don't know if, just to answer Matt's question, if you saw the minutes of the sheriff sat and with this radar and took a survey of traffic going along Westminster Street and didn't find a whole lot of violations and didn't observe any problems. So I think that we're going to have to push a little bit more because the sheriff doesn't seem
For signage at least. Oh, no,
Yeah.
I was up there Thursday, Friday, and a green pickup truck flew, not overly fast, but didn't lift off the gas pedal and headed right up Hartley Hill without any hesitation. That's what the scariest part is.
Well, I happened to see 4 cars doing that this morning while I was walking dogs. So
Coming up or going down?
going up onto Hartley Hill Road.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, guys, I'm going to bring you back. Hang on.
Thank you.
We've just
go.
decided to table this till the next meeting. Planning grant for 37 Main Street. I'm working with 2 surveyors. It looks like it's going to be Joe DiBernardo in June. He has already surveyed the post office, so he has I've forgotten the word for it, the points of the post
Control
office
points.
parking lot. So it made sense to work with him. Kath Martin, who was our recommended, one of the people that I had been talking to, put me on to Joe. So that's coming.
Could I ask a question?
Yep.
What's the context of this? Of
The
survey?
planning grant for 37 Main Street.
Yeah, so what's the context of having the survey done? Is this part of the?
The survey is
actual lot
part
size?
of the grant.
huh?
The idea of the survey is that there will be a sale of the property, and we
Okay.
wanted the demarcation properly laid out.
No, I just wanted to, it's a standard sort of survey.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I need to know.
Next.
And there has been some discussion of consultants, which I've forwarded to Gary Fox. No news. Water infrastructure and the revolving loan fund application. So this is the MSK proposal. The application for the revolving loan fund has gone in. In addition, I think you all saw the materials I sent for the application to Senator Leahy's office. So it is, if it is funded, it's as laid out, which is, I mean, it depends on what the MSK preliminary engineering report uncovers, but it's a $2.3 million grant. And the $31,500 for the MSK part of the proposal is rolled into that grant.
Mhm.
So if we are funded, everything is taken care of.
Mhm.
Have you sent that in yet? That form paper you sent?
That's gone in.
It has, okay. There, and the total cost of the project is $2,337,000. There's an extra 0 in there. I just noticed it today. So maybe we'll get 23 million.
That'd be great.
Hey, we could get a.
And we can build a fire, yeah.
right.
Those were actually preliminary documents that were sent to me, Rick, so I'm not positive they went in that way. I didn't file those documents. MSK filed them. I signed the sheet and I read the stuff I could read. I didn't spend much time on the Excel sheet. That's not my forte. The ARPA, March 29th, which is the day after our next meeting, we are scheduled for a joint board meeting. The discussion will focus on the ARPA projects that have been submitted. I think we will hear more about them. The final deadline is the 23rd. And Art Smith thinks we should consider putting in one immediately to purchase land for the fire department. And the land he's thinking of is the building at 37 Main. So we don't have to decide what to spend the Saxtons River money on, but we are now part of a public process. And I'm pretty sure there will be at least one additional application from Main Street Arts. I don't know that for sure, but there were enough questions coming my way so that it would not surprise me at all to see a Main Street Arts project submitted by the 23rd. So that's a lot of information to throw to you. Go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, I have a question. So we are looking at funding our revolving our revolving loan fund loan, or at least our portion of it from ARPA. Should we then be writing a proposal for that? For the MSK?
We will not be required to pay that for 3 years.
Yes, but when will we need to ask for money from ARPA to do that? We need to.
You can put a proposal in now, but we're also waiting. You know, if Leahy doesn't fund the Vermont Academy project,
Yeah.
then we're on the hook for $10,000.
Right.
If Leahy doesn't fund it, thanks to Matt, we have 3 contributions: Village of Saxtons River, Harold Buckner, and Vermont Academy. So we're obligated for $10,500 in 3 years. If there is funding, then that amount gets, if there is some kind of grant proposal that comes out, then that amount gets rolled in.
Right. So if Vermont Academy's project is funded, then that money is part of the project, and that's it.
Yes. We have to have our ARPA money spent by 2026, but we make our decisions by 2024.
Mhm.
So that's before the amount comes due.
I'm not making my point clear, I guess. We went ahead and agreed to sign this contract and do this study on the assumption that we were not going to be using taxpayer money to do it.
That's correct.
That we were going to get the cost of this reimbursed from ARPA.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, so it may be funded by Leahy, it may not. But as you say, if it's not funded through Leahy, then we're on the hook for 10,000, and I don't think we can let that happen. I think that we need to follow through with what we originally planned to do and put an application into ARPA to cover that, to cover the cost of that study, to cover that loan. I'm very disturbed by the idea that we should have gone ahead and spent that or agreed to spend that with an understanding of how we were going to cover the cost, and then decide, well, we don't need to do that. We'll just be on the hook for 10 grand. I don't want to see another $10,000 showing up, which is what? I don't know, a sixth of the total budget added on to repay a loan that we just didn't follow through on how we had planned to pay it.
So my question is for Amy, back up with when when do we have to have stuff submitted by?
The
2020.
23rd of March.
Right. And that's it. There's nothing after that.
Well, that's the public process that's been outlined. That's a public process that all three boards committed to.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Maybe that's a good question to ask at the joint board meeting. And maybe the safe thing to do is, as Carl suggests, to put that money in and say, well, you know, we, in Saxtons River, we know we are going to spend $10,500 on a water project, that bill coming due, and work out when it's going to come due. My problem is we're going to have to report to the federal government that we spent that money by 2026. And the reporting requirements are stringent. So I'm feeling a little bit pulled. I don't know if I'm making this clear, but it's a federal grant, and it's not, and we do have the money right now, but the bill doesn't come due for 3 years. So I don't know,
What's the
maybe we can but it may not come due. And
So
so the federal,
we have $148,000 available to Saxon's River,
yes,
and that is going
those
to
are
be
ARPA
that's go-
funds.
yeah, and that's going to be available.
It's
For how
in
long?
our account now. That's my understanding. Sarah?
We have 70 something.
You're right. It comes 1 year at a time.
Okay, so we
But it
so
has to be sent
the
by
money's
a
in our
process.
account.
Yes.
The money's in our account.
Yes.
70,000 something.
Right, but at least the $10,500 that we're on the hook for.
Yeah.
Allegedly, if no project happens. Correct.
Yeah, but let me slow you down. I think I see where you're going. We've got this money. Let's put it aside and spend it when the bill comes due. The difficulty with federal funds is the feds are pretty careful about, I mean, worst case scenario, the bill doesn't come due. We said we'd spend $10,500 on this project. The feds say, you're fraudulent. You know, you told us you were going to spend it on this project and you didn't.
Right, so the money's in our account, then then we have the money available. So I don't know why we're sweating 10,500 when we have 70 and it's going to be 148.
Well,
Because-
because,
Go ahead, Carl. I see your hand.
well, first question for you, Amy. Suppose that we put the money in for ARPA and we're given the $10,000.
Sure. I
Okay.
mean, it's up to us.
We spend that $10,000 and don't roll it into Leahy's grant. Does that hurt us? Do we have
It's when
to?
we, it's
we have
when we
to-
spend it. It's when we spend it. It doesn't hurt us as far as Leahy's grant. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about, so we report, I don't know, does anybody else work with federal funds? It's a total pain in the ass. Excuse my language. We report starting next month on every aspect of the ARPA grants. And I mean, what are we going to report? Well, we held public meetings. Everybody signed off on the assurances. That's all that happened in the first year of the ARPA grants. Year 2, we report. We finally made our decisions by, I don't know what it is, January 1st, 2024. And then in 26, all the money has to be gone. Those are the rules. You know, this is our money, but it's very strictly allocated. And when we, honestly, when we talked about the ARPA money, what Scott thought was that that it would be part of the state ARPA money that we could use, not our own ARPA money, but we had that as a fallback. Go ahead, Carl.
Right.
No, Carl had his hand up. Sorry, Matt.
Okay, so I come back to the same question because I'm not sure that it's been answered yet. If we get an allocation, if we apply for $10,500 from ARPA money and we get it, the MSK study is done in in 6 months, and we pay their bill, or we pay their bill from the revolving loan fund. Their project is over, we pay back the revolving loan fund.
We don't pay back the revolving loan fund for 3 years. The revolving loan fund is a 0%.
Can we not prepay it before the 3 years?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
I think we can. So we have 3 years interest-free before we have to pay, but I don't think there's anything in there that says we can't pay it back earlier.
So why do, Carl, I think you really get yourself in a, excuse my language, a tizzy over this. If we have the money, if we have the money, then what are you sweating anyways?
Well, but
We shouldn't pay it, we shouldn't pay it up front if it's going to be rolled into a project. Vermont Academy is doing a project. We are the
Exactly.
ones that are applying for this money. We've been told that the money is available. It doesn't have to be paid back. It's interest-free until it gets paid back. It's part of the project. So we should not be spending any money out of there until we absolutely have to. And if we don't have to for a water project upgrade for Vermont Academy, then that money can go someplace else.
Okay, why I'm getting in a tizzy about it is that we're told we have the money, the ARPA money available, but we have to make an application. We have to, part of the process of getting that money is that we have a project that goes through the public review and says we want 10,000 or 50,000 or however much we want. And we have to do that now. We can't wait until we find out if it's going to get rolled over. If we don't, am I right, Amy? If we don't do something now, we lose out on.
That's my understanding. These are good questions for the 29th. You know, people, it's getting late. Rick is feeling tired. I have to admit, after the budget discussion, I am as well. Suppose I submit the project for $10,500 and we see where we are.
Well, I'm not in favor of it until you get some clarification from somebody, because I think that we could be wasting that money. I don't think Vermont Academy is going to be writing a check. We're on the hook. We're the ones that are applying, correct? Village of Saxon River. It's not Vermont Academy. We were
Correct.
told it's Village.
Correct.
So we're on the hook for the whole thing.
No.
So if you're going to write a check, it's going to have to be for the whole amount.
Yes, but we have commitments, signed commitments.
Right. They're not writing checks. They're not going to write a check for $10,000. Neither one of them right now.
The check is for $31,500. Correct.
Right. Yes. So we're not you're not applying for $10,500. You're looking at $31,000. You're looking for the whole amount. And then we're not going to get that back. We have to go through my understanding is to go through the process of what we need to do and not use ARPA money. So I think there needs to be some clarification with somebody before we take any action on that.
So I am going to talk to the people I know who know about ARPA and find out whether we have the latitude to make our own decisions about our funds after the public process.
Mhm.
Or whether we are committed as part of the town of Rockingham to spend those funds only with the public process. It sounds like if it must be with the public process, then Carl would want that money earmarked now for repayment of the loan Is that correct, Carl?
Yes,
Yeah, I think that's a, yeah, well,
Well,
you should talk to a couple of people about it. Obviously, we want to
And
cover
Matt
ourselves.
feels, that that would be poor judgment because it removes $10,500 that could well be covered by some other funding.
Which we were told
Yeah.
that's what was going to happen.
I agree. Rick, do you want to weigh in? I'm not asking for a vote. I'm just asking to weigh in. No.
I'm gonna
No,
let you
yes?
guys wrestle this
Okay.
one out.
Okay, I'll try and get more information. I'll let you know if we need one of those 10-minute special meetings. I don't know. Do you have guidance for me? Do you want to make a motion? Do you want to compel me to do something? Other
Well,
than
just,
find out?
Gary Fox, or who was the other guy?
I will talk to Gary Fox, but I think I'll go to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns and talk to Katie Buckley. She
Okay,
is their
well, whoever you're
ARPA
comfortable
person.
with. Yeah.
Okay. Village Park Fire Station. Is there an update? I'm sorry, Village Park and then Fire Station.
I was wondering what the Village Park Fire Station was.
It is on the same line. Somebody forgot to put a line return in there.
Okay.
Village Park, I'll just let you know, the Village Park Committee is meeting again. They let me know that they submitted a brief report for the annual report. And they plan to ask for $350, which is about what they spent last year, what was spent last year on lawn mowing.
Okay.
Fire station, is there an update?
I just have a question, why they're not paying it out of the park account?
It would be paid out of the park account.
Oh,
Don't you have that under your jurisdiction?
Yes.
Your 24 accounts?
Yes. But my question is, I thought they were going to ask for all the money that was in the account. This is what I was told. They were going to ask for all the money in the account and then ask us to fund the maintenance.
No,
The town, the village.
Hmm.
Okay,
don't
so
know.
move on.
Okay.
I think they want to continue as things were.
Okay.
Fire department. Fire station, sorry. Updates,
I haven't heard anything.
wastewater treatment plant.
nope,
Still
Right.
working.
Minutes of,
March 7th?
oh, wait a minute. Yeah, give me a minute here. Minutes for approval for March 7th and March 16th.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes for March 7th and March 16th meetings.
Do I have a second on that? It's been seconded. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of March 7th and March 16th. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor? Can we do them together? Let's try them together. There's no discussion. All in favor of approving the minutes of March 7th and March 16th? Motion passes unanimously. Warrants and bills for approval. Let me share that. It's pretty straightforward tonight. It's a total of $4,064.64. There is nothing unusual on this.
I'll make a motion that we approve the warrant for $4,064.64.
Is there a second on that
Second.
motion? Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the warrant in the amount of $4,064.64. All in favor? Show of hands. And it's unanimous. Items for the next meeting, March 28th is just going to be the budget. And April 4th, how about I ask for anything you'd like considered at the March 28th meeting. Unless you have something you want to consider by then. Anybody?
Nothing tonight.
Okay. No executive session necessary, I assume? So we're
Motion to
ready?
adjourn.
Business.
Okay, I'm sorry, new business?
Skip over other business, or did I just miss it?
You know what? I think I might have left it off. Oh, no, there it is. Other business. Rick Holloway has been in touch with River Valley, and we have the offer of a student to scan and upload files or digitize files. Thanks for doing that, Rick. That was great to see that email.
I'll try to follow up with them sometime in the next few days.
So
I need to know who they need to connect with to actually do that. I'm assuming you have all
I do.
the files, so I was thinking maybe you wanted to reach out, connect back with them.
I had that thought. Yeah.
Okay,
Do you have any sense of, well, I can talk to, is it Jennifer Cummings? I can talk to
Yes.
her about what a typical internship looks like.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
third.
Olin? Okay. Thank you, everybody.